Hello and good evening and welcome to Empowering Voices. It's a special program and it's designed just for you. I want to thank you for coming in and listening to what we have today. We have a special program today, and today I want to have a lot of fun with this program. This is a different program than what I normally do that I normally bring to you. But today I want to bring in a guest. But before I bring in the guest, I want to do something. I want our guests to tell us about Dougie. Tell us about Dougie. Who is Dougie?
Hi, I'm Dayna. I'm the author of the book Stop Telling Whops Dougie. And Dougie's a little boy. He struggles a little bit with adjusting to a new move, to a new city, a new school. And so he struggles a little bit with it, adjusting to all of the new triggers in his life. But he has the help from his family to help him get through those struggles.
Now I want to bring our guest in formally. And would you reintroduce yourself to our guests and just tell us a little bit about you? And then we're going to get into
Absolutely.
Dougie a little bit more. We're going to open Dougie up to the guests, but I wanted you to tell them a little bit about him, and now I want them to meet you. Again, you say your name is Dayna Jones. Tell
Yes,
us about you.
my name is Dayna Jones. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am a mom of four, three sons and a daughter. Um, I am a child care provider and an educator for early children, starting from infants to pre-K. And I've been doing this in this industry for 21 years.
Now, if you would, just bring us a little bit more familiar with you. What is it that you're passionate about? What motivated you to write this little book to tell us about Dougie? And let's start there. What is it that you're passionate about, and what motivated you to write this little book?
Well, I'm passionate about, helping, children, in the early learning process, getting them to, getting them through the little hurdles of, different things as far as like the early learning process, um, the early learning part of the beginning of early learning, not so much as, excuse me, their alphabets and things like that, but getting them to know who they are, to love themselves. And I'm passionate about, what I do. So I make sure that early learning process is, I make sure that I'm, involved in it as much as possible. And I, make sure that I lead by an example.
So you say you're a teacher, right? And
Yes,
you say you're passionate about teaching,
yes,
correct?
absolutely. Yes,
And the area that you're focusing on is the early part of their life, the part that channels them to be able to do what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Is that what you're saying?
absolutely. It's learning is it's the lifelong. So it starts early, but it continues on through, when they proceed out of my program. So education is a lifelong process.
So you're saying the foundation is really important. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, I am. The early part is very, very important. So we get them through, we get them started, and the early process is the beginning process of the early learning. So early learning is very important, and it's valuable for those kids to have that structure and love.
Now, do you or did you have someone that mentored you or that inspired you? How did you get into this? Well,
Well, first and foremost, my inspiration are the child care children, my family. So they are my inspiration, and also the children struggle a little bit with being honest, and that's what Stop Telling Wops is teaching the children how to be honest. And so that's what motivated me to encourage them, to let them know that it's okay to make mistakes, but sometimes we learn from them. So that's what this book is all about, is being honest and learning from your mistakes.
Now, if you would, this is where I want you to tell us a little bit about more about Dougie. But I want you, you said a word, stop telling WAPs. Open that up, explain it to us, make us familiar with WAPs, and tell us why you put it in there. In fact, that's part of the title of the book. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the title of the book. It's Stop Telling Whops Dougie. And WAPS is another word for, I wanted to keep the children in an innocent versus not using, I'm not a big, I don't like the word liar. And liar isn't, to me, it's not appropriate for young children. So instead of using liar or lie, we use WAPS versus also you can use fibbing, but WAPS was just a more of a comedy word, made it fun. And that's why I wanted to utilize WAPS. It was another word of just, be honest.
I'm liking this. And so in the book, you describe it and you actually make it, you explain it so that you understand this is something that you don't want to do, but you don't make the person feel bad when they do it.
Absolutely. You don't want to make them feel bad. You want them to know that it is a mistake. We have to learn from mistakes. And I mean, I think, mistakes is what makes us, get through different hurdles in our lives. We learn from them and we keep it moving.
Okay, so now bring us into the book a little bit. Tell us what's going on and what was Dougie doing? I mean, where was he? And how did he get into the part where he wanted to start saying things to make himself significant and he was admonished in such a kind way? Tell us a little bit about Dougie. Tell us, bring us into the book.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Dougie, him and his mother wanted to unite with her family again. She missed them, and so she started to look for seek for employment opportunities, and she set up some interviews online, and she traveled to Pittsburgh. So Dougie wasn't really aware, the understanding of why he was traveling. So she told him, she said, I'm looking for a new job so we can meet, so we can join our family. I miss them and they missed out on seeing you grow up. And so long story short, he starts a new school. She gets the job and he's not adjusting to this new school very well. He got new friends that um, they're not, involved with play and things that he's interested in. So he gets a little bit anxious. He's like, what's going on? Do they like me? Do they, I want to make sure that they like me. So his mom always enforced, to be your unique self. If you be you, I mean, they'll like who you are. But he wanted to rush it, and so when he rushed it, he told a big old wop, and he told his friends he was going to do something. And I don't want to get detailed because I want the readers to read it, but he told a big wop to a couple of his classmates, and they made fun of him, and he wasn't very happy. So involvement from his family and was really, really um, something that helped him get through that wop. So that's what I really wanted to the readers to see, that family is valuable. Family helped him to get through his dishonesty, and even though his WAP was told, he made it through it and he learned from it.
Wow, fantastic. You kind of get close to Dougie, and I'm sure our audience is doing the same thing right now. You kind of get close to him because we all identify with Dougie. We have been there. We have been there. Significance is so important, and the way we go after it is very important too. And the way we achieve it is very important also. I want to put it that way. Now, you said a few things that I just want to bring out. One, you said it was his mother. Are all mothers teachers?
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, as a mother myself, we are their first teachers before they go to school. So I used that in a previous early on in the interview. We have to lead by example. So absolutely, we have schedules for them. There's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have maybe some reading time we set aside. So everything is a schedule. So we're preparing them once they, start, whether it's infant, if they decide to, parents decide to put them in a child care program, or if they wait until later on, maybe till they're like 1 or 2. But absolutely, mothers are educators. And like I said, we have to lead by example. And first and foremost is reading to our children. So reading is definitely a part of the early education for the kids. It helps, with vocabulary. It helps with comprehension. So absolutely.
I heard you say every word, but when I listened to you, I heard some things that you said that you didn't say in words. And I'm going to bring it out right now. First of all, you said mothers are our first teachers. I think everyone in our audience has to get a grasp of that. Mothers are our parents are the first teachers, and then we send them off to school. But what you did was you wrote a book. You're his mother, you're the mother. You wrote a book so that you can teach with a different language. You can teach with a different style. So you're saying, okay, I'm the first teacher, and then I'm sending my child to school, but I've got another way, I've designed another way to teach or to educate, and that was through the book. So my question comes to you. Are there different ways that we learn?
Absolutely. Every child is unique. So my thing is as educators, we have to teach the same skill, but we have to teach it in different ways. And the way we do that is to do an observation. We have to observe every child, because every child is learned differently. We have children that are visual learners. We have some children that are, learn by hearing. Some children that learn by touch and feel. So as early educators, that's why I said that it's important, because we have to observe those children to seek what what what's a better way to teach that child.
I like what you're saying. I mean, so far everything has been fantastic. You have to observe. You have to be able to determine where the child is, where what they're learning, and how they're learning, so that you can adjust the learning to the child. I like that.
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely.
So again, like I said, I heard the words, but I'm going to see if I can redress it. The educator has to be adjustable, or there are different styles for educating, and there's different styles for learning. Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely, yes, yes, I am. That's the way I. Like I said, every child is unique. We are teaching them the same type of, the classroom. We're teaching them the same thing, but there's one child that might grasp it quicker than the other child. Like I said, the one child might be more of a be hearing. One child might be more of a visual learner. So we have to find out their specialty.
We're going to get a little bit more into Dougie, but right now I'm going to lift you out a little bit. Now, this is unique for me. I mean, there's a lot of books out there, and there's a lot of people who are capable of writing books. But what lifted you off the couch and had you or created you to have the concept that you could do this? What I mean, there's so many people that would love to do what you did. I had a thought, I had a belief, I had a concept, and now I'm seeing it. Hold the book up for me if you would. Can I see this book?
Absolutely.
How did you get to where this was the thought and now it's a reality? How did you get to where you created this book?
Well, this is actually my grandson, and how sometimes uh, we're our own worst critics. We're always thinking too much. We're our own worst critics. So sometimes we have to get out of our heads, and basically to get out of that motion of telling ourselves, no one, it's not good enough, or I don't think it's going to be good enough. We have to get out of our head, and we have to get off that couch, as you mentioned, and we have to go ahead and make a plan. Because what happens is if we keep telling ourselves that we can't, it's gonna be I can't. So we have to tell ourselves that we can. We have to tell ourselves that we can, and no dream is small. You know that saying when sometimes our teachers will tell us, no question is a dumb question. And that's absolutely right. No question is a dumb question. There might be a student behind you that wanted to ask that same question, and neither one of you guys had results because you held back, because you were in your mind telling yourself that that was a dumb question. So sometimes we have to step outside of ourselves and tell ourselves we can.
I'm what you said is so valuable because often we're asked to do something, and the first thing that we will do is we will present to the person who's requested us to do something. We will present all of our inabilities, our inadequacies, and our re, I want to say our resentments, or we will present the things that resistance is what I want to say at this point. We will present our resistance instead of our ability. Oftentimes, it's an emotion that we have to get past because the ability is inside the person. And so I'm going to ask you this question here. How did, when the winds of adversity blew on you, when the naysayers came out, how did you get past them? How did you get to the point where you said, you know what, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm not going to listen to my inadequacies. I'm not. How did you get to the point where you said, I'm going to do this? What was that?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a prayer. I'm a praying woman. I'm a woman of God. I pray a lot. You know, a lot of times, as I mentioned before, we have to not stress so much about what we can't do. And I wasn't listening. I had them way back. You know, someone was saying you can't, or someone was saying anything type of negative, anything negative that was discouraging. I ignored it because I just know that, as I said, you have to say, you have to not, you have to just basically focus on what you're trying to accomplish, those goals. And then once you get to a certain point, you have to start writing down, set your goals to the top, and not focus on any type of negative energy at all.
I hope somebody's listening. You have to purposely ignore the naysayers or the opposition. Is that what you're saying to me? You have to purposely
Yes,
ignore them. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now that's good because
absolutely.
oftentimes we entertain a resistance and it actually sets us. I'm gonna again make another statement here. I want to say someone said that achievers are not really rare. You are an achiever. It said achievers are people just like you and me. And the
Hmm.
reason why I am saying this is because there's someone in our audience who wants to do what you have done. There's somebody in that audience that wants to believe past their inabilities or the things that they presented to themselves that they can't do it. So we're going to go down this road here. Achievers are people that do are people just like you and me. Achievers are people that do a rare thing. Achievers are people that move past their opposition. Achievers are people that pursue past their difficulties and do a rare things. Achievers are people that move thought into reality. I got to say thank you for moving your thoughts into reality. Now, for someone out there that is thinking, you know what? I'm inspired. I really I have a book inside of me. I want you to talk to that person if you would. Talk to that person and tell them how to pull that book out of them.
I want you to, if you have that passion, you have that dream, I want you to go for it. I want you to stay out of your head. I want you to say I can versus I can't. I want you to write down all of your ideas, put them down on pen and paper, have them every time a thought comes to your mind, you write it down. If it's No matter what it is, if it's just some notes that you just want to doodle on a piece of paper, write them down. Because once you're done, it'll all come together. That's how I put my book together. An idea came to my mind, I would write it down. And then once I got all of the pieces to the puzzle together, the pieces to the puzzle all together. So just get out of your head. And the number one thing also is to pray a lot. There is nothing that you can't accomplish. If you tell yourself you can't, you're not going to be able to. But if you tell yourself you can, you will be able to do it. All things are possible. There is no dream that is too small. All dreams are big.
Now, this is another eye opener. Did you have a lot of people helping you when you wrote the book? Or was it just sheer determination, desire? Was it effort? What you tell us about it? Tell us.
Well, it was my family. I want to thank my sons, my daughter, my grandsons, my siblings, friends that believed in me. Thank you so much because they believed in me. They were like, I told them what I was interested, what I was interested in doing. They said, what? They were like, yeah, that's awesome. Please go for it. And at first, I was in the negative in the back of my mind. But when I explained to my family what I wanted to do, they were so, eager and so, just pushing me forward. And they had my back 100%. So sometimes family is empowering as well, and friends are empowering. But also, you have to empower yourself and tell yourself that you can. So
Wow.
please do not tell yourself you can't. Move forward and pray about it, and it'll all fall into place.
You helped me accomplish two goals. I wanted to get Dougie out there in front of the people, but I wanted to get the people who out there the ability to see that it's possible. That and when I say this, there it is so real that there are so many people who are going to be inspired. Hundreds of people are going to be inspired that I too can do this. I did promise that I was going to bring Dougie back into the audience, and I want to bring him back in now. Is there? See, right now, I know what the book says. You know what the book says. They don't know what the book says. When I say they, I mean my audience doesn't know. And so right now, they don't know if a Dougie is a hard book to read, a real easy book to. They don't know anything about it except for that Dougie is a little fella and he wanted to have an experience, and his parents were coaching him as to how to be a real man and not someone in his that is creating a fictitious person. They wanted him to be a real person. So what I want you to do for do you have a spot in the book that you can read to us so that they can get a feel for Dougie and how this book reads?
Yes, um, I do. I wanted to address this one page. And this is not just his parents were involved, his grandparents were involved as well. So this, I have two pages that I would like to read. I'll show you the pages after I'm done. Let me put my glasses on.
Okay. Now Dougie was going to visit his grandparents. Is that right?
I'm sorry,
I was just saying
I didn't hear
Dougie
you.
was he was traveling. So go ahead, read for us.
He was traveling to his grandparents.
Yes.
Um, the school bell rang, and now the day is over. Doris picked Dougie up from school. As they both walked into the house, Pat and Grandma Sylvie greeted them by saying, "Did you guys have a good day?" Dougie says, "Oh, it was okay." Doris said, "Wonderful. It felt so good to leave work on time." Dougie ran around the house as if he was looking for something he had lost. Grandma Sylvie asked him, "What are you what are you what are you looking for? Are you looking for something?" Dougie yelled, "Yes, Grandma, my daddy." Pap and Grandma tried to assure Dougie that his daddy had not arrived home yet. But Dougie yelled out, "Daddy, Daddy!" And his daddy jumped up from behind the sofa. Pap and Grandma Sylvie looked very puzzled because they couldn't figure out how Dougie knew. They asked him, "How did you know your daddy was here?" Dougie replied, "I know my daddy's cologne anywhere." everyone began to laugh.
Okay. You brought back memories. Hallelujah.
Yeah. So it was just a parent involvement, grandparent involvement, and Dougie enjoyed his involvement with his family.
I have two questions, and then I have two questions. One of them is when a child learns under a nurturing atmosphere, are the lessons that they learn, do they become permanent? Are they stronger when they're received under nurture and care?
I believe they become very strong, especially when it is from the wisdom, meaning from the grandparents. I learned a lot from my grandparents. Um, the structure, the nurturing was, tough love, meaning that we had responsibility and things were structured. So we had things, we had rules to follow, and that's what comes into our being adults. We have things to follow, and that followed us through education. So yes, I agree. It's longevity. It's lifelong.
Got it. So, and the second question that I wanted to ask: now that you've written Dougie, now that Dougie is actually a book and it's in the hands of other people, have you received good responses from? What type of responses have you received from your audience now, your book audience?
Um, a very awesome responses. My book has 5 stars on Amazon, 5 stars on Barnes and Nobles. So a lot of the feedback from the outside audience is, I love the honesty. I love the feedback, and I need to know that because um, for future books that I would like to write, I need to know what I need to improve on. If there's anything that needs to be improved on, I need to know what the likes are, so I continue on putting those likes, um, into the book. So I got a lot of feedback, and I just, friends and family gave me wonderful feedback. People that I didn't know gave me amazing feedback. So yes, I received a lot of critics.
Well, is there a possibility that Dougie might have some other opportunities, some more traveling experiences? Are we going to see more of Dougie and maybe some more of the family?
Yes, you will definitely. You will see a lot more of Dougie. I'm working on the second book as we speak, so you will see Dougie, more of him.
Now, this is what I want to say to my audience. I want to say this. First of all, Dayna is a mother. Secondary, she's a teacher. And third, she's a creator. And fourth, not just having creativity in her mind, she brought it through and placed it for you. And there's someone out there in our audience that fulfills every one of these roles. Dayna came on today to inspire every one of you that you too can do this. This is just not a world that we live in and that we don't have input. You can have input in your world. Dayna has brought Dougie to us. Dougie will permanently be in the histories of in life of our history now. He'll never be able to be erased. Dougie is here,
Yes,
and
he is.
yes, and so I'm saying that there's somebody out there that has a Dougie dream in them. They have a dream inside of them. And in fact, let's do it this way. You made the statement, "No dream is too small." Could you give us that before I close this out here? What did you tell us about no dream is too small?
No dream is too small, just meaning that no matter if you think it's small, a book to me is it speaks volumes. A fairy tale speaks volumes because it's educating our children. Whatever your dream may be, whether it's a book, whether it is buying a house, a car, whatever your dreams that you have a passion for. I'm just saying, it's not small because it's gonna help someone in the long run. It's gonna help someone evolve. It's gonna help somebody maybe they want to maybe possibly do it, but they again they were in their heads thinking that they couldn't do it. So no dream is too small. All dreams are big, and so I just want everybody to know that follow your dreams. Don't don't put it off. Don't hold on to it. And then in the long run, you could be helping someone else. Just like I hope that I am helping someone that has a passion to write a book and educate our children, especially our young children. They need us today.
Mhm. We're going to place a way for the audience to be able to find your book, retrieve it, purchase it if they want to. But at the same time, I'm going to say, I want to thank you for coming in to our studio. It's a small book, it has a large message. You have had a large message, and you've talked to a large audience. There's so many people out there that have dreams. And when they get to meet someone who had a dream and allowed it to come alive, allowed it to become real, we want to say thank you. Thank you, Dayna. Thank you very much. Now, to our audience, I want to say I want to thank you for stopping in, for giving us a listening ear, and finding out what's out there in our community. Believers, achievers are out there in our community. They aren't rare people, they just do a rare thing. And I want you, every one of you, to do something rare. Believe in yourself, dream, and make your dream become a reality. Get off the couch, pick up your pen, jot down, write, think, and then publish what it was that you wrote. Put it out there. Somebody needs to know what's inside of you. Thank you, Dayna. I want to say thank you again for coming into our studio. Thank you
Oh,
for being
thank
our
you.
guest on Empowering Voices.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.